Everyone. I'm going to get us started, like Ms. Strong said, and then we will move forward on to other things, just so you hear a different voice for a change in the beginning of this. Here are our agenda items. So as usual, going over our norms, a community builder with me, because y'all know I am the most fun. Even with my monotone voice, I'm the most fun, which is why I'm always in charge of community builders. From there, we'll go through our grade level highlights, hear from some people. I see there's some staff other than GLT leaders in the room who are possibly doing some shout outs, so that's great to see. We have updates, reminders, talks about reopening, which is super important because the day has finally come. It's the day of my dreams where I see children in a school building that I work at. Super excited. So we'll talk about the schedule, what to expect in regards to remote and hybrid. So that doesn't mean if you're remote, you just X out of here. I hope you did not. You were staying with us the whole time because we have information for everyone. And that amazing question of what to bring to school. Zoom norms, as always, our Zoom is password protected, so no one can enter the meeting prior to the presenter. That's why you were in the waiting room. Also, if you did not get the link, if you're not on our Kinvo, you cannot have access to it. Everyone is muted. You do have the control and ability to unmute yourself because we are all adults. And we are also in the chat monitoring and controlling the conversations, answering and asking any questions, following up. So be sure to use the chat feature. Raise a hand function is always useful to ask a question to the presenter because it'll just pop up as opposed to going to look for the person who asked the question. And then using the chat feed. Some of us are better at having the chat feed up while presenting than others. It is definitely a difficult multitasking task. So just using your chat, but also using the raise the hand function because we're all different learners and presenters. This community builder is blank because it is week 2 of families trying to plot their mood. So we want to make sure that we're putting this into practice. I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now. And again, if you did not join us yesterday or watch yesterday's video, I want to just reiterate, Ruler is a social emotional learning tool that we are implementing throughout the school this year. It is something that over the summer, all of our staff read the book, had to apply it to their own lives in some way or another, thinking about this and how to implement it in curriculum, but also in daily life. And it's also something that is really beneficial to use with all families. I am hearing more and more that a lot of schools are using Ruler. Our co-located school, Eastside, actually also uses Ruler. So this is really, really important for us to get to know you, to get to know where we are, use it at the beginning of a session, at the end of the session. There are families that create this mood meter and have it at home to kind of gauge where people are in their feelings and what we can do about them. I do want to state, and I want to thank Ms. Walker, like I hope I do all of the time, who taught me that like being in the red is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just identifying where you are and being able to shift from that place to wherever you would like to be. So just because you're in the red or you're in a dark blue doesn't mean you need to be embarrassed by it or it puts you in a bad place. Just identifying that for yourself. So you're going to click the link. Some people have already done it. If you're seeing the numbers go up, click the link and you're going to identify your mood. So you open it. It will bring you to this chart. I can't plot for myself, so I'm going to plot it for someone else. Well, not plot it for someone else. I'm just going to show you how I would plot it. This is how it would look on the participant end. You click, if you're on a computer, you click one of these or a section, it'll give you some words. If these words don't fill you, you hit show more, it'll give you other words. And you kind of move around based on your energy level and your pleasantness. So energy is vertical and your pleasantness is horizontal. That is one of the things that I never captured in school. I always confuse the two. But yes, vertical is energy, horizontal is your pleasantness. So you may be feeling pretty happy, you're just tired, right? And so that could be somewhere down here in turquoise greens areas of sympathetic, serene, could be challenged, could be ashamed. There are tons of options for where you can be. In my view, we have about 16 people There are 51 people on this call. I want to give people a few more minutes to do that. Plot your mood, and we'll go on. Okay, take about 30 more seconds. All right, so I'm gonna stop and show you the results right away so that you can see where people are. We have 3 people in the group that are satisfied, 3 that are grateful, 2 more that are satisfied. It may just have meant that you plotted a little lower or higher in the green area, but it's still the same word. We have engaged, chill, this is actually a pretty cool feature, is that it explains to you what the word is. And then we have some individuals, anywhere from energetic and anxious, frustrated to content, to irritated to productive. So as I've stated before in other sessions, this is a great tool to gauge where you are in the classroom. It could be done in the beginning of the day, in the beginning of the week. It could be done at the end of the week to see how we're sending students off home for the weekend. So this is a great tool. I encourage you to create something like this in your home. You could use emojis. There's a lot of different templates. Just Google Mood Meter. And now I'm handing it off to Ms. Kogan while my slides load.
Hi families, good afternoon, or good evening, I guess now. There were a bunch of shout outs, Ms. Bassier, feel free to jump in whenever. But there's a shout out from Mia Rivera for persevering through an assessment from Ms. Thomas. And then the whole 5th grade team also want to say a huge shout out to everyone who showed so much grit and leaned into their MAP test. We know it was tough, but 5th grade really tried so hard. I hear a ton of stories of 5th graders staying after for a very long time just so they can get their tests done. So shout out to all of you. Shout out to Ms. Shelley. This is coming from me personally for feedback. She came to me for feedback on how she could improve her grade and actually was implementing it in classes after, which was really amazing. It's what we look for as teachers. So to see her come and say, you know, hey, I want to improve my grade, what can I do? And turn around and do it was amazing. And then a big shout out to Shayla Willis for also asking for extra help and then coming to the appointments that were set up with Ms. Moran. And she is really grateful. Ms. Bassier, if you have anything else.
No, those summarize it very well, but an additional shout out to 5th grade students that are just entering middle school and find the focus and responsibility and maturity to find their way to class on time after lunch continues to impress me. So shout out to 5th grade students there.
Hey everyone, I just want to shout out Anaris Martin right now because I know she's not, I can see her right now saying no, 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 and then she's gonna hide her face. Thank you for all the amazing lip glosses and Girl Scout cookies I got from you over the years. I love seeing former students in here, makes my day. Also shout out Miss Colgan, making me look terrible with that amazing background in GIF/GIF, I don't know how to pronounce it. I need to step up my game. But here we go. So all of the 6th grade teachers want to shout out Alyssa Robinson. All year she's been doing such an amazing job doing all her work, participating in class discussions. It has been such a delight to have her. Miss Duford wants to shout out ER Advisory. She says it seems like every lesson they start with a hilarious conversation about smelly feet or eating toenails. And it's such like a nice break during our rigorous day to have a very weird conversation. Mr. LaRose wants to shout out all the students who are attending his office hours. He's so happy to see students take such an interest in history. Ms. Hirschhorn wants to shout out Madison M. and Casimira for their participation in class. And Ms. Castaneda wants to shout out Jaylene and, sorry, the chat was blocking it, Layla Diaz-Diggs for always reflecting on their work and asking for help when they need it. Also, hi, Esther.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Some 7th grade shout outs to share. Lots of students this week. We wanted to shout out Alicia B, Tia, Chloe, Kimani, Caitlin, Hattie, Dana, and Anastasia for their great work and participation. We were doing a little work sort during our 7th grade meeting today, and we just noticed that these girls in particular have improved so much since the beginning of the year and have been really on top of their game recently. I wanted to also specifically shout out BDT. At the beginning of the year, that class was a little bit quiet. It was a little bit crickety in there, but we've had a lot of girls really lead the charge in that class. So thank you, Jada, Chances, Nyla, Mia, Adriana, Gianna, Safari, Anaris, Kamaya, Ashley, Destiny, Laylene, and Kamara for bringing us out of that rut and always being ready to participate and ready to share, whether it's off mute or in the chat. Big shout out to all the students who are consistently completing their asynchronous assignments, and a big shout out to all the students who are reading their emails and send emails to their teachers. We love to see that independence and maturity when students are able to advocate for themselves and ask questions on their own. You are smart, savvy women who could easily consider world domination as a next career move.
All right, for 8th graders who have said time and time again that they cannot believe they're spending their 8th grade year virtually. Hopefully by the end of the year, we are all together. We are going to prom. We're walking across the stage because I cannot imagine doing this 2 years in a row of having no prom, and things for the girls like that. Shout out to the 8th graders for just being so high school focused and thinking about their futures and going from I want to be a cook to a doctor, I want to be an artist to a rapper. I'm like, live your life, drop the bars, just make sure your ELA and your grammar is on point, and I think you can go super far. Be the first rapper to be grammatically correct. You might just take over the world. And just seeing what our girls want to do and how they outlook on life and the classes. I didn't mean to rhyme that, but I'm just, nice like that. Here I am. But also shout out to the class participation leaders. Just like Miss Walker says, this is a really hard thing to do, and to sit behind a screen and just participate and engage. And, Juliana, AKA Lolita, Dallas, Sade, Savannah, Anaya, Isabella, AKA LT, Dana, Danila, Joanna, Joanne, Atia, Jeliza, Tyla, Dakota, Kamora, and Kaylee. Does not go unnoticed that you are making sure your voices are heard and that you are noticed. Continue to push yourself, continue to keep your head up, because I know this is difficult, but we will push through. Shout out to 8th grade.
All right. Cue the updates and reminders. Hi, everyone. Good to see you again. We're going to share some important information with you. Go ahead to the next slide, please, Ms. Lopez. Awesome. So just a reminder about tomorrow. Hopefully, families, you got my email and my amazing YouTube message, really getting my following up there for my next career as a YouTuber or whatever they call it. So we're going to go over, thank you, Ms. McCullough, for the vote of confidence. Go over a few things that I shared in that update. So just again, reminder that tomorrow is asynchronous for scholars, which is abnormal, but it is our first day back in the building, full staff. And so we want to make sure that we are able to get all loose ends tied up as we prepare to welcome scholars back on Monday. So the difference is, though, there is live advisory. So everybody needs to log on at 8:30, see your teachers. We're going to frame the day, make sure everybody's got access to what they need, spend some quality time together. We can't let too many 2 days in a row go by. Thank you, Mara. I'm going to look to you for some advice. without checking in. So please have scholars log in for advisory. The rest of the day, however, is asynchronous. So rather than logging onto Zoom, teachers have put together resources and assignments for students on Google Classroom. So that's where they should go tomorrow after advisory. Synchronous, so live remote classes will resume Friday, the 24th. One thing to note is that Miss Natalie is going to be reaching out tomorrow to groups of 6th and 7th graders who have expressed the need for additional support in theater and film. So while the day is asynchronous for scholars, please be on the lookout if you're a 6th and 7th grader for a message from Miss Natalie about some live office hours time in the day. Attendance update. So I felt like Oprah putting this slide together. So excited. As I shared last week, attendance was our focus because our numbers had dwindled down into the 80s, and our goal is 95% daily. So I'm excited to share that we were so close to meeting our goal this past week. We've been up 6.25%. So we were at 94.25% at the end of last week. So you can see the average broken down by grade level here, and we had increases in every single grade. So we were super excited. Shout out to 7th grade because you had the highest increase, and shout out to 8th grade for exceeding the attendance goal, being the only grade to exceed our attendance goal, leading the way here, seniors, setting the bar for your sisters. Thank you for that. And we're super proud of these increases. So shout out. So this week, I know that we can continue.
Woo! Sorry, just had to do that, Miss Strong. Go ahead, senior.
Do it. There you go, 8th grade. Woohoo! It's totally warranted. So just huge shout out families and students for this. I know we're going to get to 95%. So one thing that I'd love to hear, because we don't get results and we don't have improvement by accident, right? There are concrete steps people take. So I'd love to just have families drop in the chat either what's a way that our school community can continue to support you and your scholar with attendance. So like, what's something that we're doing that is helpful that you want us to keep doing? Or if you've got a best practice, so you're like, this is a thing I've done with my kid and it has really helped, I'd love for you to drop that in the chat to just share with the other families. So either what's something that we're doing that's really helpful and you're like, please keep doing this because it's supporting us with attendance, or what's a best practice you can share with other families that is helping you and your scholar be present and on time every day. So I'm going to give just about 30, 45 quiet seconds, and then I'll share out some of the things I'm seeing in the chat. Awesome. Thank you to those of you who've got notes coming up in the chat. Please continue. Just going to highlight a couple of the things I'm seeing in here. Katie Singh, students set about 5 alarms. Really great best practice is to have those set And they go off when you need to log on to something because it's easy for that to sneak up on you. Definitely, I see multiple people saying multiple alarms are definitely a best practice. Also seeing we are happy to receive callbacks and updates from our point of contact weekly. So I'm glad to hear that that is something that is supportive that we are going to keep doing for you. Yeah, Miss McCalla helping with the scholar getting on time. And I'm seeing another one, it's private to me, but having scholars get in bed around the same time each night, early bedtime. We know that remote learning in the spring really mess with teenagers and preteens' sleep cycles. Up all night, really hard to get them awake in the morning. So keeping that consistent schedule is really helpful in making sure that kids are feeling energized and ready to go. Yep, I'm seeing the bedtime thing and the alarms coming up multiple times. And I'm hearing, please continue with the text message reminders. Absolutely. So I'm hearing Kenvo is helpful. Awesome. Thanks, parents. Please, and families, please continue to just drop notes in there. If there's something we're not doing, right, that you'd like for us to do, feel free to also drop those in the chat. We'll continue to monitor that and we'll record those responses so we've got that data and can share with the rest of our community. Yes, awesome. Thanks, team. Next slide, please, Miss Lopez. This is just a reminder for our community council executive board election. So if you are interested in being a part of the community council executive board, there are 4 positions available. The expected time commitment is approximately 10 hours per month on the executive board. There is a form that Ms. Lopez will drop in the chat that you can submit to become a candidate. That is due tomorrow, October 22nd. So please reach out if you have questions about it. We're happy to support. We will be sharing information about candidates next week and we'll be voting. The voting period will end on November 3rd. So shout out to our current community council members if they're on this call. Our community council is made up of a fantastic group of strong women that are so supportive of everything we do. So Yolanda, if you're on here, or Marie or Joanne, shout out to our community council. And I'm sure they'd be willing to talk to anyone about their roles and your interest in this. Immunizations, immunizations, immunizations. Please make sure if you have not yet submitted your scholars immunizations or your physical form, that you do that as soon as possible by emailing it to girlsprep.lesms@girlsprep.org. It is crucial that we get this information, particularly if your scholar is signed up for hybrid learning. They will not be able to start hybrid learning in the building until we have their immunizations and their updated physical. We want to make sure health and safety comes first, and we really want them in the building. So please, if you need support or if you have questions about this, again, email girlsprep.lesms@girlsprep.org. Ms. Trez in the main office is going to be your point person for this. So please don't delay. Let's get these in so that we can make sure everybody can start hybrid learning. But just to be clear, it's still required even if your scholar is in remote learning only. But the very time sensitive piece is for scholars that are coming in the building, because we need these before you join us for in-person learning. Ms. Trez is the point person in the main office. And you can get her at girlsprep, LESMS@girlsprep.org. No problem. Next slide, please, Ms. Lopez. Awesome. PowerSchool, Parent Portal, and Gradebooks. I want to start by saying I know that it has been a bumpy rollout for some families. So I want to acknowledge that and let you know that we are fully aware that there are some kinks that we're working out, and our IT team is going overtime with this, as are your grade team leaders. So please know that if you have specific questions, your point of contact can talk to you about your scholars' grades. You're also always welcome to email their teachers directly. But know that your point of contact, if you do not yet have login information that is accurate and works, that we are working diligently to get it resolved, and should have that to you very soon. If you're having very technical computer issues getting logged on, you can email itsupport@publicprep.org. But if it's about login information, or about something that is not working in the portal itself, let your point of contact know. And again, we're working to get those resolved as quickly as possible. Just a reminder that PowerSchool is our student information system. And so final grades, PowerSchool is where you're going to look to see those calculated. Google Classroom Gradebook, really think about that as just a method to see when your scholar is not turning something in. Those parent emails are super helpful for those reminders of just didn't turn something in, or here's an assignment coming up. But remember, think of Google Classroom Gradebook as like a teacher's desk, basically. Every single assignment that we give is posted on Google Classroom Gradebook, just like all the papers he or she would collect. PowerSchool is where you're going to see the actual final grades for things that are calculating into your scholar's overall final grade. So PowerSchool final grade, Google Classroom Gradebook, missing work alerts. That's how you can think of those. Next one, Ms. Lopez. Great. And just a reminder about what you're going to see moving forward in PowerSchool. You should see 2 graded assignments per week as a minimum being added in PowerSchool. And there should be a balance of assignments in all categories. So coursework, participation, and assessments. You will see an indication of an M if work is missing for scholars. And until work is turned in, just so everyone's on the same page, that M is going to calculate as a 0 in the grade book. So scholars, if they are missing work, it is going to need to be turned in order for them to get some credit, at least partial credit, for turning in the assignment. So let's stay on top of work submissions so that students do not get in a hole where they have to make up a lot of work. MAP data, we talked to you about it a couple weeks ago. Ms. Colgan gave 5th graders some shout outs for powering through their MAP assessments over the last couple of weeks. So we've wrapped up that window. Just a shout out to all the families who were supportive of the technical side of this. As we did our first round of remote administration, we learned a lot about how we can improve that administration moving forward. And we really appreciate all of you who were there helping navigate things on the student side. We have collected the data now and are currently in the analysis phase. So we're looking at the results. We're going to be using that data to inform small group instruction and interventions, and reports about your scholars' performance will be shared with families in the coming weeks. So be on the lookout for it. It'll be coming from your ELA and math teachers, and your point of contact will also be able to talk to you and help you interpret the report if you were not at our MAP session a couple weeks ago, or even if you were. I realize that you may still need some support in interpreting it, so know that that is on the way, on the horizon. A guide to reopening. Woohoo! We're here. We're excited to talk about it. Before we dive in, there is going to be information in this for both remote only and hybrid families. But because a reopening session is required for all students and families that are coming in the building, I'm asking my grade team leaders to help me by looking at the participants that are in the Zoom call today and looking at our remote or our hybrid learning roster. And please just take note of the families and students that are present today so that we can count them accounted for in that requirement. So again, grade team leaders, if you could pull up the hybrid roster and just cross-check the students and families that are on the call. Families, if you don't mind making sure that your name, your Zoom name is your scholar's name and grade level, that will help grade team leaders ensure that we have got you marked present. Okay, scheduling. We're gonna change permission to rename right now. Thank you, Joanne, for flagging that for us.
Renee, I need to put on my information.
We'll make sure that you can get that in just a moment. All right, while we're taking care of that, just gonna start talking about the schedule for next week. I feel like I need to say, everyone, like, put on your seatbelts and your thinking caps, because I know that no matter how many ways we say this, it can feel a bit complicated, but hang in there. We're gonna make sure you feel super solid before you leave. Next week, pod orientation begins for students. And so this is what the breakdown is going to look like for both students who are remote only and students who are coming in person. So 5th grade families, you might want to take a screenshot of this. That might be helpful just to refer to. It's also in the letter that I shared with you all, or the email update. Monday, all 5th grade scholars have their regular remote live classes. Your live schedule is embedded in this. Again, this went out via email. I'll also drop it in the chat here in just a moment so you can access it there. Everybody is in 5th grade live remote classes. On Tuesday, that is when 5th graders are having their first day of pod orientation. So if your scholar is coming in the building, they are on site on Tuesday for pod orientation. And if they are remote only, Tuesday the 27th is going to be asynchronous for those scholars. That means that they're logging on to Google Classroom to get the work for the day. And students that are on site are going to be on site for orientation. On Wednesday, all scholars are at home and all scholars have asynchronous classes in Google Classroom, just like we've been doing on Wednesdays as we've prepared for reopening. On Thursday, 5th graders are all remote. Everybody's at home and everybody is in live remote classes. On Friday, we have day 2 of pod orientation. And so if you are coming in person, you're here on Friday in 5th grade, and 5th graders who are remote only, again, have asynchronous classes that day, regular times, and everything will be on Google Classroom. We'll go to the next slide for 6th grade. Ms. Lopez, you mind going to the next slide for 6th grade? Oh, there you are. Great. 6th grade. So similar setup, but just different days. 6th graders, your first day on site is Monday. If you are remote only, 6th grade, Monday you are asynchronous in Google Classroom. Tuesday, all 6th graders have live virtual classes. Business as usual, just like we've been having. Everybody is in 6th grade is at home on Tuesday. Everybody's logged in for live learning. Wednesday, all 6th graders are at home. Everybody's got asynchronous class on Google Classroom. Thursday is day 2 of orientation for 6th grade. So if you're on site, you're back in the building on Thursday for your 2nd day of orientation. If you're remote only, you've got asynchronous classes that day. Friday the 30th, all 6th graders are home and all 6th graders are logging on to their live schedule. As a reminder, families, we are purposefully, gradually phasing in students throughout the course of the week for orientation before we get to the point where we've got all students in the building for a full week. And so that's why you're seeing it broken down this way in pod orientation week. So now we'll talk about 7th grade on the next slide. So 7th grade schedule looks the same as 5th grade because 5th and 7th graders are going to have orientation on the same days. So Monday, all 7th graders are at home having live synchronous instruction. Business as usual. Tuesday is pod orientation day 1. So you're either in the building or if you are remote only, asynchronous classes. Wednesday, same as everyone else. We're all at home. We're all logging on to Google Classroom for asynchronous work. Thursday, 7th graders have their live virtual classes. And then Friday is the second day of orientation for 7th grade. So they are either on site or if you're remote only, you are logging on to Google Classroom and you are completing your work asynchronously on Friday the 30th. 8th grade. 8th grade schedule looks just like 6th grade schedule because 6th and 8th graders are coming in on the same days for pod orientation. Again, what that looks like is Monday is the first day for 8th graders. If you're in 8th grade and you're in hybrid learning, you are on site Monday. If you are remote only, you have asynchronous classes Monday. For 8th graders, both Tuesday and Friday, they've got live remote classes. So 8th grade, everybody's home on Tuesday and Friday, and everybody's got their live remote classes. Wednesday, same business as every other grade. We have our asynchronous Wednesday. And then Thursday is that second day of pod orientation for 8th grade. So you are either on site or you've got your asynchronous classes. So for all grades, just to stamp it, there are 2 days of pod orientation and there are 2 days of live remote instruction. Wednesdays stays asynchronous for next week. And if you are a remote only scholar, you've got asynchronous classes on the days of pod orientation. We can go ahead to the next slide, Ms. Lopez. So before you come to school, we've talked about this before, but we're going to give some reminders so that everybody knows what to expect. Check your child's temperature at home. We are asking that you get in the regular habit of making sure before you leave the house that your scholar does not have a fever, and that if they are sick, please make sure that they stay home if they are sick. It's really important that we are doing everything we can to keep our community healthy and safe. The second thing you need to do before school is to complete the health screener. It's a questionnaire that's going to be sent via Kinvo every day. So this is going to go to in the form of a text message on the phone of all families and guardians. And so that needs to be filled out prior to students arriving at school. When you arrive, students and families need to be prepared to show a confirmation of the questionnaire. So for example, if your scholar has a cell phone, they can show the big green check that's going to pop up when the screener is done. And they can show that and it will indicate to us that they are good to go. If you're dropping your scholar off, you can also show it on your phone, indicate that you are good to go. In a moment, we'll talk a little bit about, but what if I forget? Or what if my scholar doesn't have a cell phone? How are we going to make sure that's done? We'll talk about that on the next slide. But you should be prepared to receive that text message and to make sure that that questionnaire is being filled out every day before your scholar comes to school. And also, please make sure that you have confirmed your scholar's dismissal information, whether they're self-dismissed, whether they're being picked up, and who's allowed to pick them up. It's critical that we have accurate information going into next week so that we can ensure that scholars are all getting where they need to be. There was a form sent out by Ms. Denolis. Many have already filled it out, but if you are sitting at home going, I'm actually not sure whether or not I filled out that form, please let your point of contact know. They'll make sure to get that information to Ms. Denolis so that you are set with the dismissal roster.
Ms. Strong, before we go on, a parent wants to know what time will the questionnaire be sent out every morning?
That is a great question. I believe it is by 6:15. I will confirm with Ms. Denolis, but I believe it's around 6:15 a.m. Yep, no problem. Next slide, please, Ms. Lopez. So arrival. It's important to know what to expect on day one. I've gotten up, gotten dressed, filled out the questionnaire, brushed our teeth, ready to go, got on our mask. We've shown up to school, now what? If you are a 5th or a 6th grader or a 5th and 6th grade family member, you are entering through the courtyard. So the courtyard is on 11th Street. You're gonna see a big staircase. In fact, you're probably gonna get a video message that shows you exactly what this looks like in the next 2 days, so be on the lookout. But there is a large staircase that leads to a courtyard on the 11th Street side of the building. 5th and 6th graders are gonna go up the right-hand side of the staircase, and they're gonna turn right. You're gonna see lots of signs and lots of Girls Prep staff members. We are gonna enter through the doorway that's furthest to the right in the courtyard. You're also going to see East Side students. There are East Side students that are gonna be entering their side of the building at the same time through the doorway that's on the left. So if you're Girls Prep, you're gonna remember that you are just staying to the right, and you're gonna see plenty of signage and plenty of staff members. If you're 7th or 8th graders, you are entering on the doorway or through the doorways on 11th Street, just like we would typically line up for greeting. 7th graders are gonna be lined up on one side, 8th graders are gonna be lined up on the other. Things to remember, please ensure an on-time arrival. Next week, we're really gonna be learning how long it takes for us to do the screeners, how long it takes for us to safely stagger this arrival. And it's really important that we're all there at 8:30. But please know that if your scholar arrives to school early, we do not have early morning drop-off available. So there will not be adults outside of the building with them because we're gonna be doing all of our morning prep to ensure that the building is ready to go to welcome scholars. So if they are there on their own early, it's really important, scholars, that you remain socially distanced outside of the building if you happen to get there before the adults are outside to greet you. How am I gonna do that? I don't know how far away 6 feet is. Of course, no problem. All over the ground, in the courtyard and outside the building, are gonna be socially distanced markers that are gonna allow you to know if I'm here and everybody else is on their marker, then we're all 6 feet apart and we're good to go. So whether you are traveling on your own to school or whether a family member is coming with the scholar, we ask that, again, we're there on time. And if you're there early, we're asking you to remain socially distanced outside of the building. And families just know that there will not be staff outside prior to 8:30 for scholars. So again, safety protocols. Everybody shows up with their mask on and keeps their mask on. We'll talk a lot next week about what that looks like. I'm gonna put my mask on right now. It's important that your mask is over your nose. This is not your mask on. This, as Governor Cuomo says, is a chin strap. So this is how we're wearing our masks over our noses so that they are fully covering our nose and our mouth. If you haven't seen all the funny memes and videos of what kids are gonna be like getting used to masks, please check them out. They're funny. Girls Prep Scholars are ready though. We're going over the nose. We're ready to go. We're socially distanced. Families and guardians, we are asking you also have your mask on. We need to model what we want to see from scholars when you are dropping your scholars off at the building. You're gonna see a school leadership team member, masked and ready to go with a smile. We are going to greet your scholar and we are going to take temperatures with a digital touchless thermometer. So we're gonna say, good morning, Mara, we're so glad to see you, welcome. And then we are going to take your scholar's temperature. Then I'm gonna say, did you fill out the screener? Did you do the questionnaire? Mara is either gonna show me, someone's accidentally off mute and there is a lovely trumpet playing in the background or something. If you don't mind just checking your mute, thank you so much. So we're gonna ask, did you complete the questionnaire? We're gonna take the temperature and we're going to, if both of those are good to go, then we are going to bring your scholar in the building. We'll talk on the next slide about what if the questionnaire, we don't have that. Well, apparently it's on the next slide, so we're getting there. So the questionnaire is gonna have the following questions on it. Have you experienced any symptoms of COVID-19, including a fever, loss of taste or smell, or shortness of breath? Have you gotten a positive test result in the last 10 days? To the best of your knowledge, in the past 14 days, have you been in close contact with anyone who tested positive? And have you traveled internationally or from a state with widespread community transmission per the New York State Travel Advisory? We're looking to see that all 4 answers are no. If all 4 answers are no, again, the green check mark is gonna come up. If you're scrapping your scholar. If the scholar is coming by herself, she can also show it on her phone if you do it on her device before you leave the house. If neither of those are possible, we are also getting notification of the questionnaire coming through in the morning. So we will have a spreadsheet up out at greeting. And so if a scholar shows up and they're traveling on their own and they're like, I actually don't know, no problem. We're just gonna ask them to hop off the line real quick. There's gonna be another staff member outside that's gonna pull up the spreadsheet and they're gonna be able to say, yes, Esther, your mom filled it out. I see it, you're good to go. Or they're gonna say, oh, Esther, actually your mom hasn't filled it out. They're gonna go through the questions with the scholar. They're going to also contact the family. Then if the scholar is again, does not have a temperature of 100 degrees or more, they are going to be welcomed into the building, ready to go for the day. We can go to the next slide. There's the one I've been looking for. If I forget the questionnaire, just went over that information with you. So again, if you forget it and you are there are gonna be QR codes up, posted outside the building for you to be able to just scan it with your phone and do it right on site. Similarly, if the student does not have the confirmation, we're gonna pull them over to the side. We're gonna check the spreadsheet and say, yep, you're good to go, or nope, you're not. Then we're going to have them fill out the questionnaire and we're gonna notify you to make sure that all is good. It's gonna be great. Be on the lookout for Kinvo. What to bring? Please make sure you come with your Chromebook fully charged with your charger, just in case it dies during the day. We'll have charging stations. We cannot support students' personal devices on the school Wi-Fi. So it's really important that your scholar have a Girls Prep issued Chromebook to be able to work with during the day. They are taking that back and forth with them to school daily. So if you are on the line right now and you're like, I actually don't have a Chromebook, what do I do? Please just put your name in the chat. we will make sure that we can arrange to get that solved for you. But again, our Wi-Fi cannot support students' personal devices. So they will not be able to bring their personal laptop and connect to the internet on Monday. They need to have a Girls Prep issued Chromebook. We're gonna provide headphones on site. They're not going home. They're amazing. You saw me in them a couple weeks ago. They're big, they look like pilot headphones. They have a mic. It's gonna be great. We'll provide those. Those are going to stay on site in student lockers. They're not going home, as cool as they are and as much as you're going to want to take them home or use them on the train. Please bring 3 to 4 reusable masks. We need some backups throughout the day. Everything we're hearing from our friends who have already opened is that masks just need to be changed. They get wet, we get sweaty. We want to make sure that the girls are safe and comfortable. So please make sure that they have packed extra reusable masks to change out. A clear, filled, reusable water bottle. Somebody asked me last week, what if it's like tinted pink, but you can see through it, but it's like a tinted pink or tinted blue plastic? No problem. As long as we can see through it and we're sure that we don't have a milkshake or a Starbucks has gotten into the water bottle or some such nonsense, we're good to go. A clear, filled, reusable water bottle. Their ELA novel, a navy blue sweater without a hood, pencil case with their pens and their pencils, and the supplies from the Lower East Side Middle supply kit. If you did not come pick up a supply kit, we'll be able to provide one when your scholar arrives. But basically, they need to bring everything that is in that supply kit, including, if you're in 8th grade, that really expensive TI-83 calculator that was in your supply kit, which is yours for the year. Don't lose it and don't break it, because that thing was not cheap. Make sure you bring that with you so you are prepared for Algebra 1. What not to bring? Please do not bring tons of locker decorations this year. Mostly because we're trying to keep things as minimalist, as simple, and clean as possible. Because we have to clean things more often and with more sanitizing agents, what we don't want is for a locker decoration to end up getting messed up or to get in the way. So we're gonna keep it minimal. Please don't bring any stuffed animals and or toys and or expensive items, trinkets, trophies. Save that all for home. And then we're going to talk about the healthy food policy, but please, again, leave all the non-water, non-100% juices at home. No Arizona iced teas, friends, and no Starbucks milkshakes. Let's be clear, they're milkshakes. I know they're like frappuccinos or whatever. It's a milkshake. Let's leave it at home. Next one, please. And trust me, they're good. Everybody needs a milkshake once in a while. We just aren't going to have it at school in the morning. That's all. Yep, Esther, you're okay. 5th graders did not get calculators because you do not yet need one. Just 6th through 8th graders. I love your attention to detail. Uniform, just a reminder, we are full uniform when we are back in the building. Heads, shoulders, knees, and toes, shoes, bottoms, and tops. Please make sure your scholar is coming in full uniform. Again, the plug about bringing a sweater, a navy blue sweater without a hood, is that because we want great ventilation, we are gonna have windows open. The heat is also gonna turn on in the building. We're gonna be toasty, don't you worry. But to make sure scholars can remain comfortable while we've got windows open and fans on, we wanna make sure that scholars have a sweater if they need it. It does not have to be the Flynn O'Hara one with the fancy logo. There's a great navy blue Amazon fleece that is under $20 that is great for the building. But full uniform, ready to go. Katie, thank you, see ya. Once in the building, all right, we've greeted you, we've scanned your temperature, you've got a mask on over your nose, you do not have a temperature, you have filled out the questionnaire, you're good to go. You're gonna walk in the building and you're gonna sanitize your hands. There are sanitizing dispensers everywhere, you're gonna notice. You're going to walk in, you're going to sanitize your hands. You are going to notice that on the floor and on the staircase, there's going to be tape that's going to help you stay 6 feet from the person in front of you. So you're going to walk up the stairs if you're on 11th Street, or in the building if you're coming in through the courtyard, and there are going to be staff members greeting you all along the way. So families, if you're concerned, or students, if you're concerned because you've never been in the building and you don't know where to go, fear not. You are going to have an adult in every hallway and in the staircases, making sure that you know where to go and that you can get there safely. Excuse me, we're going to turn that right off. So you're going to sanitize your hands. You're going to have the option to grab a breakfast on the way up. We are having individually bagged breakfasts. Students can also bring their own breakfast, but you'll have a chance to grab a breakfast on your way to class. Students, you're going to learn a lot more about this on Monday, but letting you know ahead of time, there is one stairwell that your grade level is going to use. Teachers will show you exactly where it is, but that's going to be the only stairwell that your grade level takes. So families, this is one way that we are increasing social distancing in the building and limiting exposure to other grade levels in pods. And so 8th grade and 7th grade, when you enter 11th Street, you are going to go up stairwell E. That is the only stairwell you're using. 5th and 6th grade, you are going up a stairwell on the other side, which you will be shown by your teachers. And 6th graders, it's going to be stairwell C. And 5th graders are going up stairwell D. So as you come in, you've cleaned your hands, you've got your breakfast, you are socially distancing your way up your staircase, and you're paying attention to those floor markers to make sure you remain 6 feet apart. Teachers are going to be at classroom doors to tell scholars which classroom to enter. So there are going to be 2 classrooms per grade level. And so when your scholar comes up the stairs, there's going to be teachers in the doorway. You're going to greet your scholar, check the roster and the name, and going to let them in the correct classroom. I know we're a little over time. I'm going to move this quickly. I will stay on for questions. Staff members, I know that you may have to hop off. So please, I understand, but we're going to move to the next slide, and I'm going to get you the rest of the information you need. Awesome. So once scholars are in their advisory, there's going to be a teacher at the door. There's going to be a teacher in the room. Teacher in the room is going to show the scholar their assigned desk. Their scholar, it might look exactly like this. There's going to be lovely blue tape on the floor showing the scholars exactly where their bubble is, if you will, on their personal space bubble. They'll be shown where to sit. And they're just going to sit down with their belongings and start to have their breakfast. You'll see in the second picture that there is a sneeze guard up. It's a clear plastic sneeze guard that's going to be up on every desk when scholars arrive. And so that is going to be used as a barrier during mealtime. Scholars will learn more about when you take it down and when you put it up and where it belongs during the day. But on day 1, it's already going to be up for you. And so the only thing you're going to need to do when you get in the classroom is find your seat, get comfy, set your belongings down. You're not going to your locker yet or any of that. Teachers will lead you through that process after breakfast. All you need to do is get comfortable. And at that point, once seated behind your sneeze guard, that is when you can take your mask down and you can have your breakfast at your desk. It's really important to note that masks are only off when those sneeze guards are up on desks. Otherwise, the masks remain on anytime we are in class, anytime we're moving through the building. Just a reminder of some of the safety protocols and the things you're going to see. There are visible reminders everywhere about demonstrating responsibility, making sure we keep our masks on, making sure that we remain 6 feet apart from other scholars and from adults as we're moving through the building. Trust and believe, the first thing I'm going to want to do is give you a big old hug, but I'm not going to do it because we're going to model responsibility and safety, and I'm going to air hug you from a distance and give you the biggest smile behind my mask that's possible. And that's what we expect you to do with the adults and the scholars that you see. I know it's going to be hard. You're going to be excited. We get it. But in order for this to work for us, health and safety has to come first. So let's remain socially distanced. You're going to see all throughout the building that there are hand sanitizers and that there is cleaning equipment. Your teachers will talk to you more about the appropriate ways to use it, when you'll use it, what you'll use. But it's important to know that this is something you're going to see all throughout the building. Last thing is the floor markers. We just talked about how to make sure we're 6 feet apart. You're going to see when you're moving through the hallway that there are arrows on the ground telling you which direction to walk. And there's going to be indicators on the floor so that you can look at your feet anytime and see, am I 6 feet from the person in front of me? So you're going to use those to help you move safely throughout the building or throughout your hallway in the building. Next slide, please. Great. Just a reminder of our healthy food policy. Scholars will be given bagged lunch every day. Everything is individual. There is unfortunately no sharing of food this year. The lunch table swap of who's going to give me their bagel pizza and whose tater tots am I taking and who doesn't want this milk and I want that fruit. Unfortunately, we're not doing that this year. Everybody's getting their own meal personally bagged for you with your own utensils, your own supplies. If you bring your own lunch, you are welcome to. Families, please know that we do not have access to microwaves. So there are these really awesome thermoses if you're sending your scholar with leftovers or food that needs to stay warm or cold. But know that whatever you send them needs to be something that they can keep in their lunchbox in their locker until lunchtime. Our healthy food policy, we want to make sure our bodies and our minds are strong. Water, 100% juice and milk. Fruit and vegetable smoothies, those are approved beverages to have in the healthy food policy. Again, Starbucks Frappuccino does not fall under fruit and vegetable smoothie, and neither does Arizona iced tea. So those fall under the not approved school beverages. Please make sure that Gatorade, Powerade, coffee, soda, tea, any of those things, have them before school, have them after school. Let's please not bring them to school. School approved smart snacks. I'm not going to read the whole list, but I will say that the things that we don't want to bring, we want to make sure that students are eating a balanced meal and that they're not crashing and burning, right? So baked chips, crackers, fruits and vegetables, a sandwich, leftovers, all of those things are great. What isn't going to fly is if we sit down with Takis and a brownie and a pack of Lifesavers, because we're setting everybody up for failure there, both with just like energy levels and blood sugar levels, and we want to build healthy habits, okay? So again, those treats are all fine and great. We all have them in moderation outside of school, but we are asking that those are not the things that we're bringing to school every day if we are bringing our own meals. Next slide, please. Recess is going to be every day. We are going outside, weather permitting, every day. We are going to move our bodies and run around and play and enjoy the fresh air as long as weather is permitting. So it is important to note that we are still going to limit exposure to other pods during recess. So girls will be outside on the yard, but we will be taking them out in batches. So they're not exposing themselves to tons of other pods at a time. And we're going to keep it limited to pods that are in the same grade level. Masks are required just like at the park, right? If you go to a public park, since phase 2, students are allowed to play. They are supposed to keep masks on. Same thing at recess. We're going to play. We're going to keep our masks on. We are going to have a mask break area. So there's going to be a place, if you want to take your mask off, you just want to chill and talk, there's going to be some socially distanced markers in an area that students can sit to take their mask off if they just want to hang. But otherwise, if they are out on the yard playing, they are going to need to keep their masks on. We're going to have recess kits with socially distanced toys and games that are sanitized daily. So jump ropes, hula hoops, games like red light, green light, the swings, all things kids are going to be able to do that are socially distanced. The monkey bars, I know this is a huge disappointment, especially for, I mean, let's not even lie, all kids. It's not just 5th and 6th grade. We love the monkey bars, totally get it. For right now, they're off limits because we want to make sure that we stay as socially distanced as possible while making sure that we've got some time to move and play and cut loose, right? So no monkey bars, swings, and other toys are going to be available. And I heard some rumors of some potential sidewalk chalk being individually bagged for students so that we can get some hopscotch out there. So it's going to be great. Let's keep our masks on. And that's what you need to know about recess. Okay, pod orientation, we're getting to the end of it. It is full days, folks, 8:30 to 4:25. On the first day, it's going to be largely focused on community building and orientation. So we're going to teach kids all the things that they need to know. And we're going to focus on building relationships because they're going to be in pods with students that may not be in their current advisory. So we're going to get to know new students. And the whole first day is going to be community building and practice for all of the routines and procedures that students need to know in the building. Second day of pod orientation, still focus on community building and a practice of routines and procedures, but we're going to run through the academic day. So they're going to have classes with their academic teachers at the same times they will throughout the day. And it's going to be kind of more like a practice, a full run of show from beginning to end. And the last thing you need to know is dismissal. So parents, the one thing that I just have to stress is on-time pickup. I know that things happen. We all run late every once in a while. And we're here with you. We get it. But we really, 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 really need everybody who is picking up their scholar to plan to be at school at 4:15. Because we want to keep everyone healthy and safe, what we cannot have is a large group of mixed scholars waiting for late pickup, on and on and on. We really have got to get on-time pickup or self-dismissal for students. So please plan to, if your scholar is being picked up, for that person to be at school at 4:15. Self-dismissal is totally fine for students of any grade level, but families have to indicate that on their dismissal preference. And again, if you have not filled out that form for Ms. Denolis, let your point of contact know so we can get that for you. So students are going to be exiting in a staggered fashion. So students who are self-dismissed are coming out of the building first. Same way that you entered. So if you're 5th and 6th grade, you're coming out the courtyard. If you're 7th and 8th grade, you're going out 11th Street. First people out of the building are students who are self-dismissed. There's going to be staff members in the courtyard and on 11th Street to help usher students down the block and on their way home, because what we cannot have is students congregating in the dismissal area, as we love to do in years past. So self-dismissal happens first. Those students head on their way. Teachers are going to then bring down students to be picked up. Whoever the adult is that is arriving to get students, what you're going to see, so if I'm a 5th grade parent or family member, I'm going to go in the courtyard and I'm going to see a staff member already there with a sign that says 5th grade, and I'm going to have my mask on. I'm going to go over to that dismissal area and I'm going to have my ID. We are not releasing a child to someone that does not have proof of who they are, so that we can look at the dismissal roster and say, yes, you are on the list, approved to pick up this student, and yes, I can confirm who you are. Health and safety first. It's a pain in the butt if you're the actual person and you don't have your ID that day, but we got to make sure we're giving kids to the right people. So please make sure whoever's picking up your scholar is on the list and has an ID. Otherwise, you're going to be getting a long phone call from me, and I will just be hanging out until I can confirm who your scholar's leaving with. You come at 4:15, you go to the courtyard, or you go to 11th Street. You find the staff member holding up the sign that says your scholar's grade level. They're going to confirm you are who you need to be. And when scholars come out of the building, they're going to be lined up away from you. You're going to see that there's areas marked off with tape. So scholars are going to be on one side. Families picking up are going to be on another side. And the teachers are going to use walkie-talkies to say, Mara is good to go. Please send Mara over. Mara's teacher is going to send Mara over to go with the adult that's picking her up. What we do not want, parents and family members, please do not come to the student line. Please stay in the pickup area. Please do not come to the student line. We are sending the students to you. We want to make sure that we keep as much social distance as possible, and that we get kids dismissed safely. Your kiddo is going to be sent over to you. You're going to go on about your business and have a magnificent day. Again, just a reminder, please make sure you maintain social distance while you're waiting. Again, there's going to be markers all over the ground. We've got to model the things we want for students. Please make sure you've got your mask on. Make sure it's over your nose. Make sure you're not rocking the chin strap. Our staff members are going to be doing the same thing. If you show up and there's a staff member rocking a chin strap, please let me know, right? We are all staying safe. We are all staying healthy. We've got this, and we're going to do it right, and we're going to do it well. Next slide, please. Haha, I'm 17 minutes over. I do apologize, families. It was a lot of information, but I wanted you to be as prepared as possible as opposed to underprepared. I am happy if there are questions in the chat that did not get answered to stay on and answer those for you for the next 6, 7, 8 minutes. So grade team leaders, if there was anything that you definitely want me to address that came up, please feel free to come off mute and just surface it. Otherwise, I'll start turning it over to families.
I have one. Looks like a lot of people want to know about Chromebooks. So if they did not pick up a Girls Prep Chromebook already, but they're coming in for in-person learning, are they going to be able to get their scholars Chromebooks like on the first day? What is the process going to look like for that?
Yeah, great question. So what I'm going to ask Ms. Lopez, if you can find the tech request form and we could drop that in the chat for families, what we'll need you to do is to fill out the tech request form that Ms. Lopez is going to drop in the chat. That will then, sorry, I got to get my charger, indicate to us who needs a Chromebook, and we will then reach out to you about securing that device on day one. You do not need to come get it before day one, but we do need you to fill out the form before day one. Okay, so you're going to get the form. It's going in the chat. Fill that out so we know. Then we will follow up and make sure that that gets taken care of again on day one. We don't need you to come before next week.
I have a question though.
Yes, ma'am, Esther.
That for the 5th graders, when do we actually go back to school though?
Yep, so your first day back will be on Tuesday.
Thank
you
you.
excited?
My mom was right.
Huh?
Yeah, I said my mom was right because I was actually excited to go back. I've never been there though, but I've seen the building.
Well, we could not be more excited to see you in person. It's going to be amazing. Yes, ma'am. Nicole, if you want to come off mute.
Thank you.
No problem. I see you connecting to audio.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Yes, My question is for families that may have little ones in their family, like other brothers or sister siblings. Is it okay if we have to bring them to the school? And how does that work with the social distancing?
Yeah, so in terms of like at drop off or pickup, if you're coming and you've got a younger sibling with you, that's totally fine. We ask that you just do the same thing you would without the little one, just remain socially distanced. Yep, as long as they're with you and they are not running up, we want to make sure that they're not going to greet other scholars, which I know is hard, but again, for both their safety and the other scholars, as long as they stay with you and you all remain socially distanced from everyone else, you're totally fine.
Okay, that sounds good.
We would love to meet the little siblings. We've met a lot through Zoom, but it'll be better in person. Very true, Esther. I like the use of symbols in your message. Yes, looks like Nicole Adams raised a hand. If you want to come off mute, please feel free.
Hi, it's Alexis's Adams' mom. I just had a question. How are you? I just had a question with the fleece. Like I know you guys put a link in there for Amazon, but like Alexis is actually more like a 16, 18, and I had bought her a hoodie that has a fleece line, so that they definitely can't use that, right? It's all navy blue and it has like a kind of, I get it from Land's End. So I got it in preparation in case they open the windows because I wanted her to make sure she didn't get a cold. I know we're trying to prevent COVID, but I also don't want her to get a cold.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if it has a hood on it, we would ask that that one does not come to school, that it's a fleece. It doesn't have to be the Amazon fleece. It could be any fleece, any jacket minus a hood. And the other thing is it needs to either zip or button up. So not like a crew neck pullover, because zip or button up, anything navy. But we are asking that it not have a hood if they are going to wear it in the building.
Okay, all right.
Can I tell you something?
Of course, Mara.
Okay, so like when I sleep, my tenants downstairs, like my neighbors downstairs, they're like banging they bang dough under ceiling, and I can't sleep, so I don't really get enough sleep. And when there's like Zoom classes live, they also bang downstairs. Then I can't pay attention. I mean upstairs and downstairs.
I hear you on that New York City apartment woes. My neighbors decided to play really loud music on a Tuesday the other week when I was trying to sleep, and I was very frustrated and happened to knock on their door and let them know that I needed to turn it down. I know that's not an option for everyone, and I hear you on that, Mara, so I will be excited when you're in the building, because then there will be less distraction than on Zoom. Because I know that that can be very distracting. I had a lovely person screaming outside my window today while I was on a meeting, and it was hard for me to concentrate too. So I'm excited to see you in the building so we can limit that. Then we'll be distracted just by something else.
Yay, thank you. Now I made the right choice.
Yes, you did. Any other questions? Again, if you're a staff member and you saw a question in the chat that we didn't get to address, feel free to pop off mute and elevate it. Otherwise, if you're a family, you can use that raise a hand feature, and we'll be happy to have you come off mute. Yes, Ms. Romero.
Hi, I'm Camila Romero's mom. She's
Hi.
in 6th grade.
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So what I want to know is if she is online, fully online. But what I'm seeing is that this next week she's going to have at least 3 asynchronous days, right? It's going to be the
Yes,
same every week. So no.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Only next week will there be those 3 asynchronous days. Then if your scholar remains in remote learning, it'll go back to synchronous learning, live classes. It's only those 3 asynchronous days because we're doing pod orientation in the building. So after next week, if your scholar is in remote learning, it'll go back to being synchronous live classes daily.
Okay, great. Great to know. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, no problem.
May I ask a clarifying question? Staff member, Ms. Garcia.
Absolutely. Hi.
Hi. I know that you listed the next synchronous live day would be 10/24. Is it just confirming that it's this Friday, 10/23?
You're right. We are not actually having synchronous Saturday school. Okay, we're not going totally crazy quite yet. So thank you for catching that. Yes, the next synchronous day is Friday the 23rd. So it's asynchronous tomorrow. Families and kiddos, remember, you're logging on to Live Advisory. You got to see your teachers. They got to check in, make sure you blew your nose and brushed your teeth and you know how to log on to Google Classroom and you know what you're doing. Hopefully we can answer at least 20% of the questions you're probably going to ask the adults at home. Adults, we're trying to help you out and get that live day started, get them on the right track. And then Friday, the 23rd, we are back in synchronous classes, not the 24th. Esther, if you show up on Saturday, you're just going to get an error message on the Zoom, okay? It's going to say, waiting on the host for a long time. Thank you, Ms. Bessier.
Thank you, Ms. Strong. I guess I was more so thinking, wait, is it on Monday? So that was more so my clarification. Thank you.
No, that is super helpful. Make sure we're all there. And Esther, you are going to be in school for the entire week, the next week, right? So it's just this first week where we're doing pod orientation, where you're not there more frequently, right? Then we're going to get you in the building 4 days a week, bright-eyed, ready to go. So it's just 1 week of orientation. Then magic. Well, I mean, the magic will start next week. You all have no idea how excited we are to see you and your kiddos in person. It is like tick down the minutes. We are ready. Ready, ready, ready. Yeah, good point, Miss Walker, good point. That magic started 9 weeks ago. You're right. Families, if there are not any more questions, I'm going to let everyone get to their Wednesday evening. I do appreciate your time. I know it was a lot of information, and you are troopers for being in there with us till the end. If things come up afterwards, you got a couple of options. Number one, I'm going to post a video of this on our Facebook group, so you can always go there. Like, what was that thing she said about the thing? And you can check it out on Facebook. I will also Canvo out the link to the recording. So if you want to go back, you'll have it in Canvo, you'll have it on the Facebook group. So know that that is coming. Then tomorrow and Friday, we are also having a re-entry session But if you are here today, you do not need to come tomorrow night or Friday at lunch. You don't got to get all three. You're good to go. Your GLT leaders have marked you set. You are welcome to join again. If you just had so much fun and you want to hear it all over again, we'll be back together tomorrow. I think Mr. Marr said sign him up. We'll be here tomorrow from 5 to 6. And then again, I'm offering it Friday during the day from 12 to 1, just to make sure that all families have an access point, and we can get everybody ready to go. Okay, everyone, I hope you have a fantastic evening. Thank you so much for coming in. If you need anything, don't ever hesitate to reach out. You can email me directly and I'll get you to the person that can help you out. Bye, Esther.
Wait, for the lunch, wait, Mr. Beer said wait. No, but they're vegetarian options. Why? Okay, bye.
I'll call your mom, Marwa.
Thanks, Ms. Basir. I'm glad that you already speak Mara, because I was not sure what she asked me, and I know you already got it.
Yeah,
Mara, we got you taken care of. See you soon.
What about